This guy's called the Standing Streamer.
Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.
Oh, can I go back to the bar, please? Thank you. How's it going, everybody? What's going on? I am the Standing Streamer. This is Putting You Over, and we're back from vacation. We've been gone a week now, and we're back into the swing of things. And just like normal, I have not gotten everything set up. I thought I had everything good to go, and then things just started falling apart. But that's okay. I do have to put. We have Logan Creed on tonight. Logan Creed. We'll do all that for today. See if that command works. Hopefully it does. Hopefully things are working. Guest. Of course not. Of course it doesn't fucking work. Stupid. Woo! Stupid. This soundbite works. No, it doesn't. It worked earlier when... Oh, no, it didn't. It worked when I hit this button.
To be the man! You've got to be the man!
So that works. Welcome to the show. We're going to call Logan Creed here in a couple minutes, which means I'm going to have to walk all the way around, click the button, get him on, walk all the way back, and make sure everything is working.
How's it going?
Oh, it's good. I'm just making sure. Hold on, I'll be right there. I want to get the camera all set. You're fine. It's my end.
Okay.
Perfect. You're looking sharp, man. I was saying, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm phenomenal. I was just on vacation with the family, and I was just saying how they had to drag me out of the house because this whole pandemic thing has got me. You can see which camera? It's this camera. You can see me good, right? You're fine.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the chat for a second. How's the audio level with Mr. Lee?
You sound good. How about you?
You sound good. I just want to make sure that the people in the chat, like, it's not too loud. I was saying this before I started the show. I'll talk for a little bit while they answer. Like, the power audio's good. I get on this end. Okay. The power went out here while I was gone on vacation. So when I was setting up for the show tonight, all the audio settings, everything was like screwed up, and I was like flipping out because I was back here. I'm home all summer. I work in a school system, and I usually do summer school, but I'm not doing summer school because I have 3 daughters, so I have to watch them because there's no summer camps, and my wife's working from home, and with her job, the kids can't really bother her. So long story short, anyways, That's you.
No, trust me, I'm in the same boat because I've got 3 boys, so I've been home with them for months now.
Yeah. All right. Someone says we have a little bit of an echo on Mr. Logan Creed, and I know exactly what it is. So you don't touch anything, Mr. Creed. And why don't you explain to the people in the chat right now, maybe your first wrestling memory as a kid?
First wrestling memory was definitely Clash of the Champions in Augusta, Georgia. That was the first live show that I ever went to. And it was actually the debut show for Cactus Jack when he debuted in WCW. And that memory of him coming out of the present on stage and attacking Sting, that was the first memory, the live memory I have of wrestling. And I was so hooked from then on. But
I mean, I can hear myself. Oh well, as boisterous as I usually am. I get so frustrated sometimes, Logan, when things just I have things working, and then all of a sudden, the power goes out and nothing goes well. So you were saying you have 3 boys, huh?
yeah, 3 boys.
Oh my God!
I've got a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 16-month-old. So
Wow. I am
I
11.
definitely have my hands full.
11, 7, and 3. So it's pretty. And they're all girls, which I don't know. Maybe it's worse. Maybe it's not. I don't think it is. My kids, my girls are just. I mean, I grew up in a family full of boys, and my daughters are like when I grew up. I mean, they're everywhere. They're all over the place. They love wrestling. They love sports. It's just nuts. You're a big sports fan. Look at that. I just looked behind you. What do we got there? What field is
Yeah.
that?
That's the UGA.
Georgia.
Basically a picture of the stadium.
Yeah.
And this is like the office. So
Nice.
there's sports memorabilia all over the place, baseballs
Yeah. Oh, are you
like that, signed cards, signed pictures.
Are you excited for the return of all those other sports that are gonna try and come back? NBA, Major League, baseball.
I am. Yeah. And I'm not people always ask me, like, what's your favorite team and things like I just enjoy sports.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily. I just enjoy watching a game. I just enjoy the athletic competition of people playing, and I just enjoy it. So I guess that's a good thing. I don't ever get stressed out about somebody losing.
Yeah. I'd like to say I'm the same way, but I'm not. I'm very competitive. As I played sports, all through high school and stuff, but I was like, I live in upstate New York, but I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. So
Okay.
there's a lot of this clashing
Yeah.
when I grew up, but I'm trying to get better as I get older. It's tough. I tone it down a bit. I coach my daughter's basketball and softball teams, and I try to tone it back a bit because
Sure.
otherwise, then you're just that guy that's out there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm the same way with my kids. I try to coach them, and I try not to get too. They're too young to for it to be stressful. You know what I mean? I don't think it should be stressful for a kid as they get to middle school and high school. Of course, if that's what they want to do and they're going to take it serious, then it gets a little more serious. But as kids, I think sometimes people push them way too hard, and it's way too serious too soon, and they're burnt out by the time they can actually do anything with it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, as I said, I got 3. One, the 11-year-old, she's been doing she does all sports, but softball she's really into, and she's been doing it since I don't know, like when she could hold a bat, like maybe
Right.
2, I think, maybe, I don't know, but so she's been going all the way up. My middle child, who's 7, she tried it, but she was not as into it, and like we didn't push her because, like you said, then what am I really doing if I'm forcing them
Right.
to play? Like,
Right.
anyways, this isn't parenting 316. That's a different segment. I mean, we could. I feel
That's next week's show.
That's next week. I feel like we could talk about our kids all night. It'd be fun.
Oh, 100%.
I'll definitely have you on. We could definitely talk about that. But I mean, all right, here I go.
All right, here I go. There I go again. I like it.
There I am. Anyways, my kids love wrestling. Okay, so they wrestle around the house, especially
Right.
the
Oh, yeah.
11-year-old and the 7-year-old. They're always wrestling. And okay, first of all, they're into gymnastics. So like,
Well, they're already good wrestlers then.
yeah, exactly. So like, my oldest daughter can do a backflip. So she's trying to do a moonsault off the top of our couch. And I'm like, oh my Lord, here we go. So so I wrestle around with them. They both are so different in the way they like play wrestling with me. So the older one she's more like, I guess, how do I want to say it? I don't know, WWE, I guess you could say it. But the middle
Right.
child is so stiff. Like, she'll lay things in there hard. Like, she needs to go to Japan or something because she's just stiff. And so
It must be a middle child thing then,
Yeah.
because it's the same way here. So they're taking out that aggression for being the middle child.
Yeah, I have a lot of wrestlers on here, and I ask them all the time, especially the ones that have kids, like, how would I go about, like, let's say one of my kids wants to be a wrestler. Like, I don't know how to go about that. You don't want to do anything when they're too young because they're developing. So I just like get my
Right.
kids into sports. They're out there all the time, but I never know. But the more I interview people, the more I realize, like,
It's like
it'll just happen,
Yeah.
as they get.
That's why, I don't think I'll force any of mine. I know that they'll do sports first, and I encourage anyone I talk to, as far as a young person goes, that asks me about how to get into it. My first response is always finish high school, go to college, get an education first, have something to fall back on. I mean, I think that's the first step in this. Not only for the simple fact that if you get hurt or it doesn't work out, you have something to fall back on financially, but you get to learn and grow a little bit before you get into a business that you need to be mature and have some sense of business mind, as you go into it. If not, then you spend many, many years eating some hard lessons before you actually get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I did do some of my research on you. And, well, here's the funny thing. So I prepped for you like 2 days ago. And I had you right here on a little notepad thing. And for some reason, this laptop rebooted, and I never saved any of this stuff. So I got so pissed off. So I'm going off my memory and some things I jotted down. But you have a degree in psychology, correct?
That's correct. Correct. Yeah.
And you jogged my memory when you said, go to college, get a degree, blah, 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 blah. How has your degree in psychology helped you in and out of the ring, business-wise, especially right now in this pandemic, like just marketing yourself and selling yourself?
Right. No, I mean, well, wrestling is psychology.
Yeah.
We've heard that from day one of training. You know what I mean? And but also, behind the scenes in the business aspect of it, this is a people business.
Yes.
And you have to have people skills, and you have to know how to talk to people. You know how to have to approach people. That's one thing when I talk to guys, they ask me, how do you get seen by this company, or how do you? It's all about how you approach it. It's all about how you're going about doing business and selling yourself to these people. You don't sell something by walking up and shoving it in somebody's face and saying, "Hey, buy this." It's a progress. You have to build a relationship. And they have to want something that you have. And in order to do that, you have to, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it just happens immediately. It happens different for everybody because we all connect differently. Some people may never have an actual relationship with, but they see a value in the product you have, and they just use it. So it's helped up tremendously because it helps me understand how to approach each individual person that I interact with. And so it's nice. I didn't realize at the time when I was doing it that I was going to end up, in professional wrestling. I wanted to, but I didn't know. I didn't know at the time that it was going to go this far. And this is where I was going to be sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you knew it was something you wanted to do, wrestling. You were into sports. You played football, and then
Right.
and then you played. Let me see if I can remember.
It's Georgia Southern University.
Georgia Southern University. You actually helped them get their sports program off the ground. Am I correct?
Well, so Georgia Southern great football team. They were established well before I got there.
Okay. Yes.
I went there to play football. Immediately decided football wasn't what I wanted to do. And a year later, I spent a year at Southern. I transferred to East Georgia College.
Okay.
And when I got there, they were starting a wrestling team, and that was when they had no sports in the college whatsoever. So this was something they were trying. They had a coach there, or he was one of the teachers. He was a history teacher on campus, and he also had a wrestling background. And he wanted to start a team, so they allowed him to do that. And he found me in the gym and asked had I ever done any wrestling. And I told I did in high school, but it wasn't really something that I took like serious. It was more or less forced on me by the football coach to keep conditioning, after football season.
Wow.
So, but I enjoyed it. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. So I wrestled for 2 years in college and did decent. It wasn't nothing to brag about, but I did well, and that led into me beginning training for professional wrestling.
Nice.
Another professor on the same campus had a wrestling show and saw me and asked had I ever been interested in professional wrestling, and of course I jumped all over it.
Yeah.
I went and tried, and the rest is history. I've been doing it since.
Man, where were those professors when I was in college? I mean, I was probably
So it's so random. Yeah, it's such a random thing, especially when you say a college professor was running a independent wrestling show, and he still does. He still runs the show in Statesboro, Georgia, and it's crazy because he's a part of the show too, and he's hilarious.
What was he a professor of?
I don't remember what Tom was the professor of. His name was Tom Casio.
Yeah.
And I never took his class, and I don't remember exactly what he was a professor of, but I knew he was a professor at the college because that's where he found me. So
yeah, that's funny, man. I can just picture him like he's sitting at his desk or in his office or something, supposed to be, grading the papers of his incoming freshman. Instead, he's booking a show.
That's actually legit what used to happen. That was pretty standard procedure.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's funny, man. That's a great little story. So okay, so you get into it. You're a college professor gets you into it. You're on your way, and you got that wrestling look, that prototype, and I had your metrics down, your digits and your height and all that, and I lost that, so I don't remember. But you got that size, first of all.
Right.
But you don't wrestle as what I would say a big guy wrestles like.
Sure.
Especially back when I got into wrestling. But
right.
So you're running around, you're hitting the indie scene, and then Court Bauer runs into you. But before you decide to sign with MLW, you passed up a tryout for WWE, I believe.
Right. It all happened at the same time.
All happened.
And we're talking 14 years between college and this happening. So it was a long stretch of out of wrestling, back in it, out of it, and then back in it one last time. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like a six, 7 year stint where it was like, all right, I'm back and I'm going to do this for real. But no, it all happened last summer. Literally within 2 weeks when I got contacted by MLW first. And then 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from William Regal asking me to come down and do a tryout, which was even though I didn't go, that was one of those moments where it was like, whoa,
Wow.
yeah, I'm walking through the grocery store with my baby and, talking to him and literally look down at my phone and see that WWE's calling. So I stopped in the middle of the aisle and I'm like talking to William Regal and I literally like hung up the phone and forgot what I was doing like in the store. I was like, what just happened?
Right.
So, I mean, that was cool. But then reality set back in and I had to start thinking about, what's best for me, what's best for my family. And so that's ultimately why the decision was made that, I didn't think it was going to be best for me and to go down there, even if the trial went really great and they signed me, the money wasn't going to be enough to move my family to Orlando. Right. And that's just reality. And that comes first, even before wrestling, they come first. So, I made a decision to go with MLW. I knew that the opportunity to become a superstar and a known superstar was there. And, that was their intentions for me. They said that as soon as we started negotiating. They said, we want to make you a star. And nothing they've done since has made me think otherwise, because they've been totally supportive and on board. And, we've got ideas. And unfortunately, we can't, and none of that's playing out right now, but we're still there. We're still talking. And, we all know it's going to come back and we're going to go back to work sooner than later. So
when I was preparing for you and whatnot, one of the things I think I heard it in another podcast or something, you had said talking about the WWE and the MLW decision, you wanted to, I think your words were maybe work your way up, like,
yeah.
And I just thought that was so like logical and it takes a person, like we said, with a mind, like a psychology type of mind, like you knew because of your family, because of where you were, what you needed to do, just as you said, no matter how well your tryout went, it wasn't going to be the right decision. And
well, I wasn't big enough yet. I don't, nobody knows who I am yet. Right. The Southeast, everybody knows who I am. Yeah. But I'm a realist, and I understand that there's a lot more wrestling fans out there that have no idea who I am. And so I said, I need their attention first. Yeah. Because once I have their attention and I have everybody's attention, then I can pick where I want to go. And I think that's the big, that's what I saw. The end of this, I go where I want to go, or maybe I don't go anywhere. Right. Maybe MLW continues to grow and it becomes to a point that I can be comfortable living, because that's, bottom line, that's what it's about is living comfortably, for me and my family. So I don't have to leave. And there's nothing wrong with that either. No. Because as long as I'm happy and doing what I love, which is professional wrestling, I don't necessarily need to work for any specific company. Do I want to? Is that child in me? Does he want to wrestle for WWE and WrestleMania? Of course. Yeah. That would be dumb to say no. But the adult in me knows what's important. So.
And I said it takes a big man to see that, realize that, and still make that decision. And so I definitely praise you for that. But you were saying, get the eyes, get the attention. You got my attention. I first saw you. I can't remember when I first got into MLW, but when I did, I was hooked. So when I first ran into you, you were like the muscle. You were the muscle for the Dynasty, which is Hammerstone, the marketable one, and it was MJF at the time. Right. And the shows I was watching. In the specific episode I saw, you were a bouncer. You were outside a bar, and you and Mance Warner. This was like right when you were ready to.
That was it. That was the turning point.
The turning point.
That was it.
Mance like gave you a few beers and you let him in, and I saw it. And I was like, that little segment hooked me on both of you guys, Mance and yourself. And I said, oh man, that guy needs to team up with Mance to take on the dynasty. That's what's going to happen. I always loved taking the pencil. If I had the pencil, that's what I would have done. I would have taken you. You guys would have formed a team, a little faction. I don't know. But that's the way I would have went with it. So, and then it was like maybe a couple weeks later or something. I see you come out as your character now, Logan Creed, which I love. Don't get me wrong. It had Road Warrior style face paint, a superhero look. I mean, you're huge. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm down with this. They can go this route. But I would have loved to see a old Mancer Logan little faction. But that's how I feel.
You know, what's funny is I envision what the character would look like with Mance because, you know, but I love doing that because there's always room for growth and change and new things. And, you know, that's fun. That's fun to think about is what that character would look like, you know, because, yeah, you're absolutely right. That Logan Creed doesn't necessarily fit right there, but the personalities are the same. Yeah. You know, the mindsets are the same. I think me and Mance are both very, you know, very similar when it comes to the way we approach the ring in a match. You know what I mean?
Yep. Now your attire, and you're a big superhero guy. That's what I've gotten.
I am.
Big superhero guy.
Yeah.
And that plays off with in your actual name is a combination of. Now I'm definitely going to bury myself here. Let me see if I can get this straight. Logan is Wolverine. That's
right. Yep. And then Creed was Sabretooth.
Creed was Sabretooth. Yes.
Yeah.
Now here's the reason I'm burying myself and I keep hesitating what I'm saying because they're Marvel characters.
Yeah, you're right.
But
that's it.
But to me, and I think this is Disney's problem, to me, I haven't seen them in the Avengers, in Endgame, and in none of that universe. I remember the original X-Men. Not yet, right? Hopefully,
which may not be good for me. I mean, I may hope they never show up. But no, I was such a I've said this before on a podcast. Growing up, I was a sports kid, and then I was also the nerd kid.
Yeah.
And I had it was two different worlds clashing all the time, and I finally found a place where the two can come together as one, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And people always ask, it's not even just a name because I am Logan Creed. Like I literally am Logan Creed. People don't know me as anything else, and so I've embodied that character, and it is a character, and it is who I am now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've discovered since I've started this whole interview type thing that sometimes the best wrestling characters, the best gimmicks, I guess is the word you use,
right,
are the ones that are closest to the actual person,
right.
As in mindset, persona, like your superhero, your comic book guy. And the only person that wasn't like that was Tony Depp, an independent wrestler. I asked him, and he's like, no, I'm the complete opposite. I'm nothing like my wrestler. I was like, whoa, okay. And as I can't remember what podcast it was, but you were talking about superheroes, comics, and you got talking about your uncle or grandfather? Uncle. And he created your attire that you're wearing now?
Yep. So we drew it. Yep. He's an incredible artist. Yeah. He just fascinating stuff, man. And but we started talking about it, and this was when I come back when Logan Creed was actually created. We started talking about what I needed to look like, and I was like, and we actually went in the toy room and just looked at all the costumes.
That's awesome.
And we're like looking, and we start talking about what it should look like and how it should be, and I wanted it to be different. You know what I mean? You don't see big guys, Big Show, I think, Big Show and Andre,
Yeah.
They had the Butcher singlet,
Yep.
or either just a singlet. And you don't see a lot of big guys wear the singlets. They don't show all. Most big guys like cover their legs, and I hated that. I thought it was dumb. And so I was like, I definitely want something, shorts. I was like, but I don't want to do a singlet. And we just kept working with it. And MVP was always his gear when he first came in. I loved his gear. I thought it was so unique. Nobody else did it.
They were not wearing
And
that.
right. And I was like, it needs to be something that cuts off here, cuts off at the arms, and that's what happened. And we played with it and drew a couple of different designs, and the kicker was finding somebody to make it because of the detail in it. And I went through, man, I've got probably 12 sets of gear at my house that have never been worn, that I paid for to be made, and it was wrong, and it wasn't, and they couldn't do it. They're just like, I can't do it. Like, so I finally found a girl, and she actually just volunteered to try to do it. She was starting out making gear, had never made any. And she was like, oh, can I try to make it? I was like, knock yourself out. And she just nailed it. And she used the velvet and the gold, and it was perfect. And so she's been making it ever since.
That is an awesome story. And that, she was probably able to do it because she was just going to volunteer, and she wanted to, get her name out and make a great impression. I mean, that's a great story. It's phenomenal. So well done on her.
And she's making lots of gear now.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
I bet,
like more than she can handle.
It's got that. Your gear's got that Avengers feel.
Right.
Avengers.
No, and that's what I love, putting together different colors and stuff as a nod to different characters. That's something to do, and you see a lot of guys do that. Even in the WWE, you see them do it and I love that. I think that's awesome. And you see a lot of people. I've heard coaches. They're like, why would you don't dress like that, don't do that. Everybody's gonna have an opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody. You can't base your whole life off the opinion of every single fan, because the half that hates it, the other half's gonna like it. Mm-hmm. Vice versa. So just be you. And if there's enough people out there that like what you're doing, you're going to be fine. If not, then maybe you change it up. But
yeah, no, I think it's working. I could, I've talked to some comic book. Who were those guys, people? They did WrestleTopia, and I'm going to get the Headlocked comic guys on here. I'm going to tell them that the Logan Creed character needs to be done in a comic. I can see it. It's in my head. I can see it. I don't know. You come burst. I could just see it. It's definitely a comic book figure, for sure. So that's awesome. But so they came out with a new character, Logan Creed. Great impact. MLW is going great, and then the pandemic hits. Sucks for everybody on a multitude of levels.
Yeah. Right.
Have you picked up any new hobbies during this time?
No, and I probably should have.
Well, you have kids. You have kids, and I have kids, so we don't really have time to pick up hobbies.
That's exactly what I was fixing to say. There's no time for a new hobby.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the time that I've got to spend with them.
Yes.
Especially getting to watch the baby grow up, and that's a lot. I would have missed a lot of stuff with him, and so it sucks, but it's also pretty cool that I was here and got to be here and experience some of that. Instead of being gone. So it's not too bad, but mentally it was tough. I think it's been tough on everybody. Yeah. You've got to find a balance. Yeah. Thankfully I was able to work out and continue to do that throughout the entire thing. And so I was very blessed to be able to have a gym to go to privately and work out during the pandemic, because they were closed. So, I was very lucky to be able to go and do that. And it was simply because of the respect that the owner had for me as for what I did. And he knew that I needed that. And so literally he allowed me to go into a locked, closed gym on my own, work out, and then clean it. And that was the trade. So, that was cool. And that was motivation for me throughout, to know that people care that much, that they don't want to see me fall behind. You know what I mean? He wanted to make sure I was still able to succeed in what I was doing, even though the world was shut down.
Yeah. And I think MLW specifically, when the world got shut down, actually had a bunch of like it wasn't live content, but new content in the can that got them through the first chunk there. Their stuff over with AAA, which was great, and then they did some anthology things. But then they came out with Pulp Fusion, which I thought was pretty cool and interesting, and just keeping things relevant. And so it's good. You guys, I mean, you with your Twitter, the stuff you put out on Twitter, it's very relatable. Like, I related with it. You put a lot of picture. You're home with your son,
Yeah.
You're with your kid, and it's relatable and it works. And
right. That's what, like I just said, I'm me. There's not a difference. You hear people say, oh, you shouldn't post pictures of your family. Well, that's what I am. Yeah. That's all I'm about. Yep. The reason I step in the ring and risk life and limb is for them. So I'm going to post pictures of them. Yep. If you got a problem with it, you're welcome to tell me to stop. But I don't think anybody wants to.
I'm not doing that.
So, but that's who I am. And I try. Positivity is a dying thing in this world, and I try to be positive. Yeah, especially in wrestling. We've all seen it, the last month. Yeah. And I refuse, and I talk to some friends in the business, I see them get frustrated, and I try to talk them, off the ledge, because it's, you cannot let it steal your joy. You cannot let it steal your joy. I'm not saying I agree with what's going on. I'm not saying, that I don't care. I just refuse to let it steal my joy. Right. And that's the thing that I think people forget, is they get so caught up in the negative that they forget what they should be doing, and that's showing people what's good about it instead of always what's just bad about it.
I know.
And so I try to do that. And I don't have nearly the reach yet that most people do. Yeah. But for the 1,600 people that do follow me on Twitter, and then that's what they see. And maybe it helps them every day. Maybe it's something that gets them through the day.
Well, I definitely can relate with it, and I can definitely relate with what you just said, because in my shoot job, I'm a behavioralist for children with autism, and I'm always working with behaviors, and it's so easy for me to always chart and pick up on the negative behaviors, the downside, and it's much harder to recognize the positive behaviors. And it was just like you were saying, like, it's easy to bring up the negative stuff. It's challenging to say this is the good side of things. But yeah, I mean, I related with everything that you portray. So, I mean, you might not get some fans, but the way you're portraying you might get even a whole nother aspect that you weren't even thinking about.
Right.
But before I leave off of the MLW route and go into another route, who would you like to see yourself work with when we finally get back on the swing of things here in MLW?
Either Hammerstone or Fatu, I think, top of the list. I think that either one of those matches would be
good matches.
Yeah, that would be the ones that would really cement me as far as like being a player for the fans of MLW.
Yeah.
Because they haven't seen, the MLW fans still haven't seen what I can do and what I'm capable of. And so that's what I'm ready. That's what I'm ready for. And if there's one thing that I'm itching to get back, or maybe that has kind of been, driving home every day in my head through this whole thing that was maybe a little frustrating, was the fact that I haven't got to do that yet.
I know. The pandemic hit.
And it's motivation.
Right at the worst time.
Yeah, but it's motivation, and I use it, and I'm using it to fuel me for when we do come back. So, but that's that. I think either one of those. But I've said it many times, man. There's nobody in that locker room that I'm not looking forward to working with.
Yeah, if there's people in the chat tonight or at YouTube when we push this out, if you guys have never seen MLW, go watch it. I'm telling you, go watch it, because it's like this top secret hidden promotion that I feel more people need to see. It's just phenomenal stuff. And
right. I think, and what's funny, I think we've gained fans during this time. Believe it or not, I really do. I've seen new people, and I've had new people connecting with me about it. Even wrestlers, even guys in the business who had never really seen it or heard about it, but they started checking it out because they didn't have anything else to do, and it was like, man, this is really good. Yeah. Like this is legit, and so they don't realize it. People don't. It's still such a baby. It's still such a baby promotion in a lot of sense. It's just got itself out there, and it's kind of creeping up from behind. You know what I mean? Like you don't even see what's coming, but it's coming, and it's big, and there's a lot of fuel that's pushing that train along. With the guys that I was just talking about, because there's such a locker room of talent that people don't even realize are there.
I know. I know for sure. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna steer right off the tracks right now. What exactly are the Heathens? Is that?
So the Heathens that's me and my wife. Okay. That's where that started. And very much it's more back to when I say that it's just who I am. We live a very heathen, pagan lifestyle. And so that's heathenism is the religion that we live by. And so we're the heathens. I mean, that's who we are.
So that's an actual religion? Or
yeah, I mean, it's, so you say religion, it's just more of a lifestyle.
Okay, a lifestyle.
And yeah, and but no, I mean, that's people have called us that when we first got together. It was funny, that was something we were called by promoters, bookers, just in locker room talk, amongst friends and things like that. Like we would be telling stories about our life, and they were like, "Man, you are heathens!" Like, and we were coming home from a show one day, and we were talking about what we were kind of doing with the characters and things like that. And she actually said it. She's like, we should just be the heathens. She's like, that's what everybody calls us anyway. Yeah. And so we did. We took it and started running with it, and it caught on really fast. Like the fans and the people who followed us, in the Southeast jumped on board, and started wearing the bracelets and the T-shirts and calling themselves heathens. And then so it went from there.
See, that never occurred to me. Like when you say it to me, it makes sense. But like when I heard it, the Heathens, and your wife, and she was in the business, and you met her through an angle and all that fun stuff. And I've heard that story, how she said we should just call ourselves the Heathens. And I just like, it was a word. It was just a word to me. Oh, they're just heathens.
Yeah.
But you're telling
me we are heathens.
That's a lifestyle. I'm just stupid. Like, so what exactly does that consist of? Did I lose him? I lost him. Did I lose him? Oh man. Reconnecting. There is a poor network connection. Oh man, we were going so well. Reconnecting. There is a poor network connection. So that's a lifestyle. Is that? I'm so confused. I guess it doesn't really matter, really. But I like to enlighten myself. I like to learn. Reconnecting. All right, I'll walk around and reconnect. If anybody's still there, feel free. How's it going? What's going on? Let me just try and get them back. Man, I hope I didn't upset them. I hope I didn't upset them. I wasn't trying to upset them. I was just trying to learn. We lost connection. We'll say it at that. We lost connection. That's a bummer because I wanted to finish up with. He's actually going to be acting in a horror type movie called Dead by Midnight. Yeah, I hope we just lost connection, Vanessa. I hope I didn't upset him by all the heathen questions. I don't know. Oh, his internet went out. Damn storms. Oh, thank goodness. There we go.
Back. Sorry about that.
Oh, don't worry about it. I thought it was let's switch the cameras over here. I thought it was me. I was like, oh man, did I just piss him off by trying to figure out this heathen's lifestyle? And the people in the chat are like, no, he didn't look pissed. And I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't piss him off. But we'll just touch on it shortly. So that's like a lifestyle, like straight edge or vegan, like
definitely not that.
No, but so what
definitely does.
Can you quickly let us know what heathen lifestyle's like?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've talked to different people about it because when it come about, I didn't realize that it was an actual thing either. That people, that some people, that's the way they live, and they call it heathenism.
Okay.
And but it's a very pagan, like they don't necessarily believe in one God, and they believe a lot more of the energies that we have in us, and the energy that you surround yourself with, which when I was talking about the positivity and stuff like that, like that's why I'm so big on stuff like that, because I'm a firm believer that you are what you surround yourself with, and the things that you speak and the things that you do and the people that you surround yourself with, it all goes together and it's working together to push you to where you're going to be. And so then that's kind of what it is. And then, as far as lifestyle goes, we're a little outside the box. She's a bisexual. I'll just say it, and I don't think I've ever said that before. And she may kill me. I don't know if she's ever wanted anybody, but we just see the world differently, I guess.
That's awesome.
We don't conform to the what we're told we have to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're not out, disrespecting the world we live in either. So it's not like that. It's just we have our own way. We protect what's ours, and our family and the people that we consider family are what's important to us.
That's awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate you. I was saying when we were waiting for you to come on, I was like, I just want to learn. I just want to learn stuff. Like I don't know, and thank you.
Well, like I said, it's something that I'm learning, because like I said, when when it started, it literally was just a name. And then slowly we realized that people weren't just calling us that for no reason. Yeah. They were calling us that because that's what they thought we were.
Yeah.
And so when I started learning and meeting other people that kind of were the same way and had the same beliefs, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I kind of think the same way too, and I kind of see the world the same way you do. So that's kind of how it happened, and so I was like, well, this is who I am. I'm going to use it. I'm going to attach it to who I am and put it out there.
Awesome. Yeah, that not believing, that believing in an energy and who you surround yourself with. That's definitely my mindset for sure. But I guess that's another show. That's right after Parenting 316. It's right after that. Thank you very much for enlightening me on that. What can you tell me about the Gut Crusher?
Oh man, it's so crazy. Last summer was a crazy summer because right before the MLW and all of that stuff happened, I was contacted by a promoter slash booker friend of mine from Cornelia, Georgia, which is where Anarchy Wrestling in Georgia is held, formerly known as NWA Wildside, that was ran by Bill Behrens for many, many years. And that's the one that a lot of people know famously for where AJ Styles was trained and come from. Anyway, so a movie studio had come to the arena to look at it and wanted to shoot a movie there. And when they were there looking at the building, they saw my picture on a poster and pointed me out. And they were like, "Man, who's that guy?"
Yeah,
And so Rick, of course, jumped all over the opportunity and said, "Oh, that's Logan. They were like, "He's huge. He's a monster." They were like, "We're looking for somebody to play the monster in the movie." And so Rick basically sold me for me. He sold me for me. And he's just like, "Yeah, no, he'll do it. He'll definitely do it without ever asking if I wanted to or not." So he shoots me a text. He's like, "Hey, you're going to be in a movie." And I'm like, "Okay, like, all right." He's like, "No, seriously, they're going to contact you. I told them you do it. You're good." And sure enough, like, I get an email and, I go and meet with the studio. They love me. I love the idea. Absolutely jumped at the opportunity to do it. But it's so what it is if you remember Tales from the Crypt, when we were younger, it's like that. It's part of a series called Dead by Midnight. And it's basically 5 short stories in one, and they're kind of narrated like the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
Narrated those. Each one's narrated by I can't remember her name, but so Gut Cruncher is one of the movies in the series. So it's not come out yet. It was supposed to come out at the Atlanta Film Festival, but unfortunately, due to COVID, it was not. And I haven't heard exactly when they're going to release it. They may wait until they can actually do something like that in the future.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has been pushed back like that.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was cool. I liked the name Gut Crusher. That's another comic book villain name.
Oh yeah. The director was such an old school like horror movie guy too. Like so like his concept drawing for the character. I thought it was awesome, and I thought you did such a good job recreating it, from drawing to me as the character. And but no, it was a lot of fun. If you're a fan of old school gory horror, almost comedic in a sense movies, then this will be so right up your alley. Because it had moments that were just completely ridiculous, and then moments that were just overly gory. So a lot of fun to film.
That's a great opportunity too.
Absolutely, it's. I think the one thing that the stunt coordinator, he loved working with me simply for the fact that he didn't have to do anything. He was like. He even told me, he's like, "Man, you should really get into stunt work." He's just like, this is easy for you. Because he didn't have to help. He didn't have to help do anything. I was, right there and even help them figure out ways that we could shoot stuff without anybody getting hurt. So that was cool to kind of know that wrestling is a lot, we've got 4 sides watching us do things.
Yeah.
And a camera's only watching one. So there's a lot more magic you can make happen in front of a camera than when it comes to all 4 sides watching you.
Yeah, and we saw that. I mean, at WrestleMania with those, the Undertaker Boneyard
Right.
match with AJ. The cinematic stuff. I mean,
Right.
that's a whole new level.
And it's a whole new opening for wrestling.
I agree.
And I don't see that it's a bad thing.
No.
I don't think that people worry that, oh my God, I don't want wrestling to become this. I don't think it will. I mean, you look at Lucha Underground; they were doing it.
Yes, they were.
They were already doing it.
And they were on Netflix.
Right.
I mean,
and so that you can't say that it's something completely new.
no.
But when WWE does it, it's the first time a lot of wrestling fans have seen it. Because people don't realize, the Twitterverse, the Twitter fans, I really feel like they're tunnel vision to that they're the only wrestling fans in the world, at least the only ones that matter. But there's a lot of people and fans that watch WWE and stuff like that don't do Twitter and don't care, and they're really just focused on watching the show.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't necessarily care. Unless it's really big and it gets to their in front of them, they may never see a lot of the stuff that we see.
Yeah.
So people don't take that into consideration. But anyway, no, so that's for some of them. That's the first time they ever saw a movie film, as far as a wrestling match goes, when we'd all seen it before.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But no, it's great. I loved seeing it. A lot of people didn't like the Bray Wyatt and Cena thing. I thought it was incredible. I thought you literally had a man wrestle himself in his mind.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened. And I've had to explain that to so many people. They were like, I didn't understand it. I was like, imagine that you fight yourself in your head. Have you ever gone through something where you had an internal battle?
Yeah,
that's what that was. It was an internal battle that was just filmed.
Yep. And it's probably stuff he actually goes through. Just think about it.
Absolutely.
John Cena, like, I'm sure he does, man. A lot of that. All right, so I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to ask you, normally I finish up with some different questions, but I stumbled upon this picture in the Twitterverse, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this tonight with Mr. Creed. And so it's called the 30-Day Wrestling Challenge. And what is today? The 7th? So I'm going to ask you 7 questions so we can catch up.
All right.
It says, day 1, your favorite current male wrestler.
Is Undertaker he's still a wrestler, right? We can still say Undertaker.
Yeah.
Is he retired?
Yeah, no, he's retired. He'll be in another cinematic match.
Okay.
Taker.
Yeah, I would say Undertaker then.
Perfect. Favorite current female wrestler?
Bliss. I've always been a fan of hers.
Yeah, I don't even know her. Oh, Bliss.
Alexa Bliss?
Oh, I thought you said Blitz.
Yeah.
I thought you said Blitz. I'm like,
no,
Blitz.
Alexa Bliss.
I'm going to pretend like I know her. Yes.
I should have said my wife, so now I'm going to be in trouble.
Is she still working in the business?
Yeah. She's still like, of course she hasn't since everything started, but yeah, she still works.
Yeah.
Nice. She was very young into it when we met, and unfortunately, with kids and things like that, she had to take the entire last year off. But
yeah, I'll edit it in post. I'll edit it so it made it. You say your wife was your favorite. We'll get a lesson. Although Alexa Bliss has really grown. Like, if you watched her at her start in, I guess, NXT, that's when I saw her to start. She's really grown and evolved. So,
right. But I think one of the reasons why I actually do say that is because I always tell my wife to watch her and study, because she's so much smaller. But you'll never know it by the way she works. She protects that, and you don't realize it, that she's so much smaller than everybody else around her, because she works smart. So
it's a great pick. All right, day 3, favorite wrestler ever.
Oh, Taker. Yeah, Taker was my favorite. Yeah.
Did you catch Taker at all before he was Taker in WCW as
did. I do remember that.
Mark, yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
I remember that.
Yeah, him and Dan Spivey, man, they were something else. Speaking of tag teams, favorite tag team?
Legion of Doom,
Yeah,
Road Warriors, man.
yes, they
You can't
were.
tell by looking at me.
Right, they were definitely. Man, the pop they used to get, those old school Road Warriors pop, you can't beat
Oh
that.
yeah,
I mean, that's a phrase in itself, Road Warrior pop. At least
Starcade,
yeah,
Starcade '87, Chicago.
yeah.
Just watch it.
I'm gonna.
Watch them versus watches they Arn Anderson and Tully for
Oh,
the tag straps. Buddy, just watch it.
I'm gonna watch that again tonight. It's gonna be great. Speaking of tag teams and factions, your favorite faction?
Oh, you know, it was well. I mean, it's NWO Day, so of course it's the NWO. Like
That's right. 24 years ago today, Hollywood Hogan was born.
that's right. That's it. No, definitely, man. That was the start of like I think probably as a fan because as a kid I watched it and then I was in high school when that happened. I had kind of gotten out of it because of sports and just being super busy, but I got back into it right as that happened and I was like hooked, flipping back and forth every Monday night, like me and all my friends.
We must be around the same age because I was in high school too when that broke.
35.
Yeah,
So
I'm a little older than you. I'm in the four. I hit the 40 mark. So
yeah, so you know what I'm talking.
yeah, I know right where you are. All right. So it says day 6. Oh, how did you become a fan? We touched on that earlier. So we can just skip that. So day 7 today, the 30-day wrestling challenge. Day 7. Oh man, it's almost like this little picture I found is perfect for tonight. Day 7. Your favorite wrestling promotion?
MLW.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
MLW for sure. We pictured that one perfect. All right, Mr. Logan Creed. I appreciate you coming by. I'm not gonna leave you empty-handed. What I like to do at the end of the show is give you the microphone. You have the platform now. You can put over anything you want. You can bury anything you want. You can literally say anything you want. I will not interrupt. I have been known to I interrupted one time, and it was because the person said something so amazing I had to say something. But the floor is yours. Go ahead, Mr. Creed.
Everybody that's listening, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the fact that you're still hanging on and checking out and seeing what all we're all doing right now, even though you can't come to the show and watch. And the world's it's in turmoil right now, and we really need to come together and realize that without conversations, without brotherhood, and it's so easy to say and it's so lame to say, but we have to get over ourselves and realize that this is bigger than just one person or one movement. There's so much going on that needs to change, and so many things that need to change so that we can move forward as a society. And so I ask we all do that. Do your part, even if it's one thing every day that you have to change to turn a negative to a positive. Do it. And if everybody does that every single day, eventually we'll see the changes that we want in this world. So yeah, I mean, just learn, every day, something different. We've all got something we can work on, something we can fix. And that's the only way it's ever going to get better.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Logan Creed. Have yourself a phenomenal, rest of the week, a weekend. Have fun with your kids. Tell your wife I said thank you for allowing me to have you for this amount of time. And I'll keep up with you and I'll talk to you soon. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, have a great night.
You too.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great. I was glad we could finish up, and the more shows I do, the more I'm just amazed on the wrestlers I talked to are just amazing people. He was so easy to talk to. He was so easy to talk to. I say this all the time. You guys are probably sick of it. I could have talked to him all night.
This guy's called the Standing Streamer.
Hey, Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.